Welcome to People Are Everything, the show that's a bit like Desert Island Discs, but rather than bring music, I ask my guests to bring the 5 people that have shaped the person they are today. And today we are joined by Mark Massett. Mark is a comic performer. He has millions of views on his online parodies, I think we would call them, or little vignettes of just comic genius. He performs as Brenda, his kind of Mancunian alter ego, complete with crazy blonde wig. Now, no blonde wig today if you're watching this rather than listening, but what you'll get today is pure Mark. And heartwarming, endearing, and we get quite personal. We get quite into our respective coming out stories and our families, and just some really, really, vulnerable things, open things. But it's a glorious conversation and the perfect sort of ending, shall we say, to season 2. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy Mark Massett. Hello, Mark Massett. Welcome to People Are Everything. How are you?
Hello there, Julia. I'm all right. How are you?
I'm really good. I'm
Good.
do you know what? I'm so looking forward to this because, well, I don't know who we're going to get. Are we going to get Brenda? Are we going to get Mark? Probably a bit of both. Let's see.
Yeah, you'll probably get both. To be fair, I don't you don't realize. I don't realize how much it is me.
Yeah, I think there is something in that. So
Yeah,
for anybody listening, they're thinking, well, who is this Brenda? Well, Brenda's your alter ego, isn't she? Or is she?
yeah.
Yeah, that's
She
the question.
she's an amalgamation of women that I grew up with, and a little bit more modernized with myself and my experiences as well. Um, yeah, very loud, very bolshy, very strong-minded. Yeah.
I love her. She says everything that we all want to say.
Everything I want to say,
So she is
everything
your
I
alter
want to
ego.
say. Yeah, I think there is definitely something to be said about having an alter ego like that, because there is protection in it. You can say it how the character is wants to say it, and then you hide behind that. Sometimes it is straight out of your mind, but it is a nice release, I have to say.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love her, and I know what you mean by alter ego. I've started writing a fiction book, and I realized that it was just an excuse for me to be inappropriate.
Yeah.
Like I could just say all the things that I ever wanted to say, but couldn't do
Yeah.
it as Julia. So I'm just
Yeah.
like rah, 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 and just going.
Yeah.
So I probably won't
It's
publish it though, Mark.
you've got to it's such a release. It's hard to say what you think these days, and having an alter ego or a book
Yeah, yeah.
would be perfect.
Let's see, let's see. Well, listen, it's wonderful to have you here. I mean, we met. Gosh, it's got to be like 8 years ago, maybe more.
Wow.
And you used to come round our house and record in our
Did
shed. I can't really call it a shed. It was bloody huge. It was a recording studio at the end of the
studio,
garden,
yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah. I'm glad you said it was a studio. It's what hang about in your shed, Julie. Do you know what I mean? Is that Julia? Sorry. No, yeah, was that how long it's been? Like, I
Probably.
think, wow. Yeah, so I used to record my parodies for my YouTube and Facebook channel, and with Neil, your
Mhm.
ex, and are we allowed to say is it your ex? Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Do you know he
Um,
helps me with this, Mark? We're still
yeah.
very much in each other's lives. I speak to him probably every other day. But
Uh,
yes, you used to come round and Neil would be
he's
your engineer, didn't he?
engineer, producer,
Yeah,
yeah. It was good. I've not found anyone as good as him, uh, just yet.
he'll be
But
pleased to hear that.
obviously, yeah, exactly. But he's really busy now, so I have to find someone else.
Oh, he's not that busy.
He told me that.
I'll put a word in for you. No, he's a big fan of yours. He's been following you ever since.
Yeah.
And then when I started doing this caper, he was like, "You must speak to Mark," and I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd love to." So I'm
When-
I'm really pleased, and And at first, those parodies, I remember it's probably so long ago now, there was like a Britney one or something.
Yeah,
Am I right?
Womanizer. Yeah, that was right. It was, we did for Britney, it was the sanitizer, but that one, I actually couldn't get to Neil because it was locked down.
That's right.
So I had to do it through my phone. And we did the best we could, obviously, because there's auto tune on all of my parodies because I'm not the best at singing. And so you can tell the difference.
The the
But
pro
it
the
was,
pro microphone versus the old iPhone.
oh my god, yeah. I mean, you'll like you were just talking, you got any mic,
I have.
so you'll notice the difference. It the quality is there. But yeah, we did a few parodies. So I'm a content creator and I do parodies with character work, let's just say, and Brenda's one of the main ones. Um and yeah, I haven't done a parody just yet, but hopefully you can put that word in for Neil.
I will. Consider
And
it done.
yeah, and then we can get one done then.
Yeah. And am I right in saying that Brenda's kind of taken off a little bit with regards to a certain high street retailer? Didn't I
Yeah.
see something?
Yeah. Yeah. So we did a B&M parody, and we did that years ago.
Really?
Years ago, yeah. And so as time's gone on, you've got TikTok, you've got Instagram, you've got Reels now. Everything's shorter format. We started out doing long form video,
Hmm.
and the algorithm favors 1 minute 30 rather than a 6 minute video. So a bit of a shuffling around, re-editing, and it just keeps going viral every time. So it's pretty awesome. I didn't realize the impact it would have, but I think it was more when the video was done. I was like, oh my god, that's an advert.
Yeah, it
That's a
is.
free advert,
Yeah.
So they picked it up, they posted it, and then recently we did a live performance for their executive meeting, and it's a good day. Good day.
Amazing. Well done, you. All right.
Thank you.
So I think we are definitely going to need Brenda in here somewhere, even if it's maybe not the wig, although this is being videoed as well. So we could maybe. But yeah, okay. Listen, it's great to have you. Let's talk about. I like to ask my guests how they found the process of choosing their five because it's not. I don't. I know it's not an easy thing to do because we all know so many people,
Yeah.
and to kind of whittle it down to five and have that be meaningful is not that easy.
No.
But yeah, how did you find it? How did you find choosing?
Um. Well, I think the first three were definitely easy. The last two, I had to really dig a bit because I take bits from everyone all the time. I'm really inspired by a lot of people. And when you have to narrow it down to five, you're like, okay, so which one is it? I wanted to get the right ones in, and I'm a bit militant. I'm like, no, it has to be a strong five, not like a weak five. So it was okay. I was like I said, the first three, the last two, I was like, oh, should I shuffle that right? Yeah, so it was all right. I mean, I didn't spend too long on it because I'll be here all day.
No, it's good
But
to be. It's good to be. I
mm,
think it's good not to overthink it. I
yeah,
like it when people give a little bit of thought, but if you overthink it, you just never do it. You just sit there and go, no, no, no. This is if I say that person, this person's going to be unhappy, or you're never going to win. So I
yeah,
think you've done the right thing by just kind of going with it a little
yeah.
bit.
Well, I think for me, I did a few of people. I did two regular people, and I had to go celebrity after a while because I was thinking, "Oh, I could go on for ages about what people bring because I still I have a large family. I have a lot of friends. Like you say, I don't want to offend anyone, but also like they all kind of do the same thing.
Yeah,
So I don't really want to sort of like, well,
that one's better than that one.
yeah. And it gets messy after a
Yeah,
while. So yeah,
yeah.
I went to normal, and then when the rest people who inspire my work,
All
you know,
right.
as
Well,
well as life.
I'm intrigued now. Let's see. Okay. Well, why don't we just start with the first one then? Who's number one?
Okay, well, the no particular order.
Okay,
I would say
noted.
my first one is my English teacher from secondary school. She was called Mrs. Delfino, and
Mhm.
she taught me English literature from year 9 upwards. I think it was year 9 or year 10. It's when you start getting separated into sections or 1, 2, 3, and I was middle for most. And the reason why I chose her was because as a teenager, I felt like she was the first person to speak to me like an adult,
Hmm.
to treat me in school as an adult, but didn't pinpoint me out. She spoke to the whole class. And I think the first thing I noticed was before she taught us
Mhm.
anything, she just said, right, um, just so you know, this is my classroom. If you want to learn something, sit and listen. I can make it easy for you and we can have a good time. But if you want to be disruptive, you're going to be out every time and
Mm.
I will win.
Oh, I love that last line. I will win.
I will win. And she goes, you're not going to win with me. And it was that, maybe not word for word. And I thought my ears pinged at
Yeah.
that. And I was like, oh, okay. Because you can either resist or you could go with it. And at that time, I was like, no, she really spoke to me there. And she didn't speak to me, she spoke to everybody.
But there's a commitment there. It's like, I am here to teach you something. I'm gonna make you,
Mm.
you're gonna come out the better for it. I
Yeah.
find that teachers, particularly from a certain era, they can't be bothered. I
No.
remember my education, 70s and 80s, is like, "Learn, don't learn, I don't care." Whereas what she's saying is, "I am really if you wanna learn from me, you will. But if you
Yeah.
mess me around, you're out of this class." So
Yeah.
I take that as like a big commitment from her that she's gonna get through to you guys.
Yeah.
So tell me more. So
It was very confidently put.
yeah.
And during that time when you've got some really crap teachers, I have to say, you had some good ones, but some they just did not care.
Yeah, yeah.
And they
Agree.
couldn't really give a toss whether you learned anything or not. Just
Yeah,
there's your book. There's your,
yeah.
do not talk. But the confidence in it was she backed it up basically.
Hmm.
She read books with us and she taught us a lot. And I think she knew she really knew and had a passion. And that was something that I was looking for in life, I think. At that time, you're that changing.
Mhm.
You're looking to be an adult. You're not an adult. People don't treat you like one. You're not a child. You don't get treated
Yeah,
like that. So it's like
yeah.
it's very confusing time. And then when this one person says, "Focus on me, and I'll teach you something," it's a big thing.
Did it
A
make
big
you
thing.
try harder?
I look forward to I was never an English literature. I didn't care about English, but I looked forward to her classes.
Yeah,
I tried to be invisible so that I didn't cross her, because that kind of like I don't want to be pinpointed
yeah.
for being disruptive. Because there were classes where I was a little bit mouthy,
Hmm.
and for her, I was like, no, I just want to go in there and hopefully I'll do the right thing. And I was worried that that confidence would backfire. Well, sorry, not backfire, be the same if you got it wrong. I was afraid that she would make a show of me.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? When someone's like quite stern, I was
Yeah.
like, could that go the other way? I just sat and listened. But if she was the best teacher ever, um, there's something to be said about someone who speaks to you with um, respect as a teenager. It really does set a tone.
Yeah, but she's asking for respect back, and I think there's
Mm.
something about safety in that.
Oh, perfect way to put it.
Yeah,
I think you've hit the nail. That was the safest I felt with a person
yeah,
that was teaching me. Because I told you, like, you don't want to be the center of attention for the wrong thing
yeah, yeah,
by the wrong person.
yeah,
But there was a safety in that, and I never feared going into her class.
yeah,
I never ever feared it.
yeah. It's interesting when you think about. I was a bit of a. I mean, it's sort of fairly established now that I had a very interesting relationship with school. It was nice. I went there for the lunches and to see my friends, and occasionally dropped into a class to see what was going on. But I didn't really have. any sort of structured education. And but there were definitely teachers that made me want to be better for them. And there were definitely teachers I played up with. And I think it was about respect from my side too. If I respected the teacher, I prepared, I turned up, I wanted to learn, and I did my best, whatever I could
Mm.
offer at the time.
Yeah.
But if I had a sniff of them being phony in any way, I mean, I remember being really, I am a musician. I went on to leave school and do all kinds, um, and created a pretty decent career for myself in various things. But when I was a kid, I was really good I was a really great singer. I mean, for a kid,
Yeah.
and I was always playing the lead of the school sort of performances. When they
Mm.
used to put you in a coach and drive you off somewhere, and you go
Yeah.
and perform Joseph and his amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, I was always Joseph. I was that person,
Yeah.
and yet my music teacher didn't like me, and I didn't like her. And
Right.
there was something phony about her. I knew she didn't really love music. I knew she
Mm.
just did it for the paycheck, and it bothered
Isn't
me.
that so interesting
It
that?
bothered me, and I played up because I just
Mm.
knew it.
Yeah.
So can you relate to that? Is
I can relate to that. I think that is very true to who you are now. There's
yeah,
like an this intuition there where you're thinking, well, there's something you're not
yeah, you're off.
giving me.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I feel like you're not being completely honest.
yeah,
And when you're in school and you are talented and you have certain amount of attention, you do get some get jealousy from teachers, I guess.
yeah.
They don't really want you to
You've gone
sorry,
off, Mark.
oh, it says hand gestures use it. I'm sorry.
Oh, there he
Are you still
is.
there? I think I'm using too much of my hand gestures, sorry. There it does cause a little bit of friction between you and the teacher.
Yeah,
There might be a bit of jealousy. I don't know what it is, but it does that it's not a one-way thing. You react, like
yeah,
you were just saying,
yeah.
to them because you're a teenager for one.
Hmm.
And you want to be taught if someone's not going to do their job, a kid will just tell you what's what, won't they?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we haven't grown our kind of, I don't know, bullshit guards until
Yeah.
we're older.
Yeah.
So you just get it raw.
Yeah.
You just get what we actually feel and think in the moment, and the wrong
Yeah.
kind
You
of
don't
teacher can't
care.
handle it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because they're there to keep you in check, to
Mm.
keep the to delegate, to rule. And I don't know if you're like this now, but I do have a problem with people telling me what to do. I think everyone does,
Yeah.
but I think I push a little bit harder if I don't like the direction that they're pushing me in.
I'm the same. You're right. We don't change much as we get older. We get a bit wilier. But
Mm,
I'm the same now. I only really take direction from people I respect. If I
yeah.
respect you,
Mm,
I will follow your lead 100%. I'm very good like that. If I really like you and respect you, and I've had some wonderful bosses, um, and I'm very fortunate. In my current job, I've got people, the smartest people I've ever met,
yeah.
and I love working with them because I learn something every time I speak to them.
Yeah.
And I'm very well managed, and it's also knowing that person in front of you. I say well managed. I think I'm a bit unmanageable, Mark, to be honest, but not in a bad way. I don't know if you can relate to this too. It's like just give me the kind of direction of travel, and I'll deliver. But don't get too don't I like my agency. I like my ability to express myself, and I
Yeah.
imagine you're the same, especially with the sort of creative output that you have. I think you need to have that autonomy to be able to express yourself how you want to.
Yeah, I'm very much the same. I think it's I've been told I can be difficult at times, but I don't think I'm unreasonable.
Hmm.
When someone is giving me a bit of information, I don't take it firsthand. I want to know, where did you get the information
Yeah,
from?
yeah.
And why are you trying to make me believe it?
What's behind it?
Or yeah, or
Yeah.
why are you telling me what to do when it's not your job?
Yeah, yeah. No, I don't know, but we're definitely on the same page about that. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, do you know, I love it when teachers are honoured. There's not it. There have been other people who've talked about their teachers, and
Mm,
I think that's right. And I think I'd wish I could, I don't know, somehow go back to mine, the ones that were great, and if they're still alive, say, I've
yeah.
really, really appreciated you.
I would love to do that to
Yeah, is she
her.
still going then? Do we know,
I have
Mrs.
no
Delfino?
idea. I left school and never looked back.
Yeah.
But she had a way of explaining all the books we learned. Kestrel for a Knave, To Kill a Mockingbird, Animal Farm, and she explained everything in depth about how it relates to life. And I think I listened to
Mm.
her, and I really did take a lot. I mean, the way she explained Animal Farm to me and To Kill a Mockingbird, I've taken that with everything.
Yeah. Well, there's so
And
much message behind those books. And
yeah, and I,
you can read any book on a surface level, can't you? You just
yeah,
read it, read the words and go, "Nice words." But if you wanna
yeah.
get behind the meaning,
Mm.
that's takes something else.
She stamped it into us.
Yeah.
She was married to an Italian man, and she was talking about the racism in To Kill a Mockingbird, and she
Mm.
said she closed the book, and she was like, "Do not ever let anyone make a remark to you and get away with it." Because a guy said she was in an interview. I never forget this. She was in an interview, and she just come back from maternity leave, and she said, she had a baby, and the guy said to her, oh, because he was an Italian, a ha the Italian baby, and she's like, "Is there another one for the ice cream cart?" And she said,
Oh,
"I I laughed in nerve," and she said, "I regret that to this day."
yeah.
We're a bunch of kids, and we were just like, "Okay," and she felt it, and she said to
Mm.
us, "Don't ever sit there and take something if you don't agree with it." I just sat there, you're a kid and you're thinking, God, what's going on? And we were looking at each other, and I was like,
Yeah.
and I'll never forget that day.
Oh, you
So it
haven't.
was,
Clearly you haven't, because you're talking
mm,
about it like it was yesterday. And that
yeah, and I'll never forget it. It might be not
yeah,
for word, but I think
the
that's the
sentiment.
meaning. It hit me.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's something to be said about a good teacher, and I really would love to if she's still alive. I don't know,
Alright.
but
Well, anybody who knows Mrs. Delfino,
it
do you remember the school name at least? Do you remember
was
that?
Stretford High at the time,
Okay.
but it's changed now to something else.
Alright. Anyone listening, there's a task. Mrs. Delfino, please. Wonderful. Thank you for that, Mark. Okay, who's number 2?
Number two is my mum.
Excellent.
Yeah, my mum. Um, One of the most, probably the strongest person I've ever met. Showed me a lot through default. When people talk about their parents and they sort of idolize them, it makes it sound like they were perfect.
Yeah.
My mum was far from perfect. Made a lot of mistakes. But there was a strong heart there, and she had will. She fought everyone around the family unit. Not so good within the family circle, let a lot of things fly. I think that's what mums
Mhm.
do.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, funniest person I've ever met in my entire life. Yeah.
Does she make it inside? Is she part of Brenda, do you think? She's
Brenda is, yeah, for sure.
definitely a
I've had
piece.
to, uh
Definitely a piece in there.
there's massive piece in there. I've had to, change it because there was a lot of things that didn't work out, as I've put it as Brenda. So I've had to mold it so it's relatable.
Yeah.
A lot of things that went down in our house. It was like, okay.
Yeah, let's not put that out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. A very dysfunctional family. Um, but I see the funny side of it. I do, and there are some things that are not funny, but there's a lot that you can make a comedy out of, which I've done. I do love when someone makes something out of nothing, and
Mm.
it's the most unusual way, but it works. And I think my mum had that ability, you know.
Well, listen, the imperfect people are the best anyway, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, if you haven't made any mistakes in life, you're just not trying.
Right.
You know what I mean? You've
Boring.
got to try. It's not a contest of living the longest, most bland life, is it? We're here to
No,
experience it, and that's going to lead
exactly.
to mistakes.
That's so true. I
Yeah.
mean, I love the imperfect person. There's a lot to be. Sounds like I'm trying to like preach it, but there's a lot to learn from that, from people's mistakes, other people's mistakes. I would never live my life the way my mum lived hers, but I've definitely admire her for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I was talking to someone earlier today, um, and they were talking about how reframing our parents, the story of our sort of parenting that we received, how we can choose to look back and judge it, or you can look
Yeah.
back and celebrate it. Um, because, good or bad, and good and bad, because it can be a mix,
Yeah.
it shapes the person you are. And, I had a particularly tricky childhood, Mark. I don't know if you know that. And I wrote a book about it. And people say to me, would you change anything?
Yeah.
And and if it meant changing the person I am and the place I'm in today and the people I've collected along the way and I mean, I have a wonderfully privileged life in terms of abundance of great people.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm much loved. And so, no, not really. And I felt everything. It's like, uh, you know, all the emotions.
Yeah.
And God, have I made some mistakes?
Yeah. It's
Spectacular
true.
ones,
Yeah.
but never really with an intent to hurt. And I think even when people are hurting others because they've been hurt, you can find a little bit of understanding and forgiveness, can't you? You can just go, oh, I can see why you're doing that.
Yeah.
So I think ultimately it's a choice, isn't it? You can judge or you can just accept.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think that when you have someone whose heart is in the right place
Mm,
and their heart is good, like you can scrub everything away, their intentions are good, you have to look for that. If someone's a, don't know if it's well, an absolute fool and they are doing nothing but like it's hard to scrub away.
yeah,
It's like I don't care. Like all you're
yeah,
doing is just causing a lot of disruption in my life. But with some people, they are wild, but you see a little crack
mm,
sometimes.
mm.
When you were talking about going back in time and having a bit of a rough upbringing, would I change it if I knew what I knew now? If I was thrown back in time after living this life? Yeah, there'd be a couple of things for sure. But as you put it, I'm in such a privileged life now, and I'm not rich, I'm not anything, but I'm safe. And I am not. No one can tell me what to do. It's a real realization moment. I think now I've got into my 40s, I can breathe
Yeah.
a bit better,
Know who you are, know what you
know who
want.
you are.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I
yeah,
think what you were saying about knowing that it was crap
yeah,
or
yeah,
rough or whatever, it's a real superpower.
yeah,
That it doesn't have to be that way anymore, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, absolutely. Oh, good. All right. Well, I'm glad Mum made it on the list. She's probably a bit pissed off that she's number two, to be honest, there, Mark. I think you're going to be in trouble for that. But
Well, she's no longer with us.
oh, is she not? I didn't ask that. I
No,
should have
no,
asked
yeah,
that.
yeah, she
Sorry about
passed
that.
away, yeah, but it's alright, no, because I talk to her I talk like she's still
Yeah, I got that
around.
impression.
I do, yeah, you know, I love that though,
Yeah.
she's always gonna be with me, and she's, I like to talk about her in the present tense. I do that quite a lot, and people say, "Oh, yeah, so what's she doing now?" I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
sorry,
No,
my
that caught
fault."
me. No, no, not at all. I
Yeah.
should have paid more attention. But yeah, okay. Well, anyway, she's probably still mad. And
Yeah, she is.
yeah, she'll be yeah, when you reunite, she'll go, number 2, was it?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
bone to
bless.
pick with you.
All right, brilliant. All right, number 3 then. Who's number 3?
Number 3 would be Caroline Aherne.
Okay.
Okay, do you know who she is?
Yes, I do. I
Yes.
love her.
Sorry. So Caroline Aherne is a comedian from the Northwest in Manchester, and, I've never seen anyone that I wanted to be like comedically more in my entire life than her.
Yeah.
I just think she's got the delivery that I've always
Yeah,
wanted.
yeah, I can
She
see that.
spoke to me.
Uh-huh.
But I first saw her on the Fast show. Do you remember the
Yeah,
Fast
I
show?
do. Yeah.
I used to watch it religiously because of her. I used to wait for her segment. She did something really sorry, it was a banging downstairs.
That's all right.
She did something really simple once. She had a news flash, which I've also done, in sort of homage. And she's like, "Oh, there's a lady from she's newsflash, there's a lady just moving around our village," and she says, "The village instead of the village." And then as it goes black, and then it goes, "Oh, that was a newsflash." And I was just laughing. I was a kid. I remember laughing my head off because it was so
Yeah.
silly. And she had just genius. And then she wrote the royal family,
Yeah.
and it was my family.
Really?
And I've never.
All right, so that was your family, the royal family. Of course, she's brilliant in that. And maybe it
Yeah.
was the fact that she's from sort of around your way that had a big
Yes.
impact too. But she
Yeah.
just had funny. She's got funny bones.
Yeah.
She's kind of in the same category as I don't know the Catherine Tates of this world and people like that, isn't
Yeah.
it? She's kind of similar, kind of observational,
Yeah.
working class, kind of human, the human condition stuff. She just could see us and play us
That
back, you know?
what you just said there, she could see us.
Yeah.
That is perfect way to put it. When you see someone and they've literally taken your life and put it on a screen, everyone's just sat there watching telly and just talking to each other. I'm like, who thinks of these things? You know what I mean? And now you've got Gogglebox
Yeah.
because that was kind of what
The
the
early
show was primarily
yeah,
like.
yeah.
And you're just thinking, it is like, that's what I'm talking about when someone takes something so simple
Simple,
and
yeah.
from nothing, I
Yeah.
guess, and makes it something.
Just a family
That's
watching
always,
telly.
yeah, a family
Mm.
watching telly, like slagging each other off and talking, neighbors coming in and, "Oh, you're still on your diet, Sha," you know what I mean? Those kind of things have always, and that's a lot of what I've tried to sort of do without copy and pasting,
Yeah, yeah.
you know?
Putting your own spin on it. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, she just I don't know, every now, I just watch it. If I see something of Caroline Aherne, I'll just stop what I'm doing just to make sure
Yeah.
that you know what I mean, I've not missed anything.
Amazing. Well, it was
Yeah.
that whole kind of genre, it's the Gavin and Stacey thing as well. I think we love it's the realness of it. It's real family life, real messiness,
Yeah.
real kind of good and bad in all of us. It's
Yeah.
that kind of gritty, but silly. It's
It's
silly because we all need that. His life's hard enough, as they say. So to have a kind of comedic lens on it, and reversing back to Brenda, that's clearly what you're trying to achieve with
yeah.
her. It's like,
I don't make any disguises like that that people talk, "Oh, it's just like her," or whatever. I'm no comedy genius. I'm silly
yeah, but
from the yeah, I love silliness. I like you were saying about being life is too serious. Life is not I mean, I don't watch the news. I stay well away from anything that is too over my head. I feel like I'm out of my depth with
yeah,
some conversations, so I don't get involved.
yeah, I understand
Um,
that.
but I think when there is a chance to be silly, that was what I got thrown out of class for most of the time,
Acting
for
up.
being silly. Yeah,
Yeah,
laughing. I couldn't stop laughing, giggler, and yeah, it was it was because I didn't want to be there. I just
yeah,
wanted to have fun,
yeah.
and
And it got in the
yeah, I
way.
think
Yeah.
yeah, and
Can I ask you?
so
Can I ask you something? It's not related to Caroline Aherne, but it's like it is related to your comedic work. And I'm just curious about this. When did you know you were onto something? Because you get some serious views on
yeah,
your shorts. Shall we call them that? They're kind of like little snippets and vignettes. You get some serious views, and you've got a lot of following.
yeah.
Was there a tipping point, or did you build it slowly, slowly, slowly? It just grew over time. I'm just curious about that.
It's been like that. Sometimes it depends. So there's this
Yeah.
algorithm.
Yeah.
and it changes. And sometimes it's like a wave, you catch it. But I knew that with Brenda, I was definitely on something from the get go. It was the first thing we did with her, which
Yeah.
went viral, and she wasn't my first choice. I was supposed to be a guy, a scally, a chav, and uh, my mum did something that day, and I thought I'm gonna just imitate a whole load of her. And it went viral. It was
Yeah.
everywhere, and it was more positive than there was hardly any negative. And so I did a few things, and it was never supposed to be a job. It was supposed to be an outlet. Just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
we were talking about things getting bigger with your stuff,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
it was supposed to be just an outlet. And when people email you and say some really personal, meaningful things. I'm quite a sensitive soul. You might not have noticed, but when someone says you've helped this and that, and won't go
Yeah.
into it, but really, oh, I never thought of that. I never thought of that. Or you really, set my mum off. You've reminded her of, and I'm like, okay, so let's carry on with her.
Yeah.
And when you see the numbers go up, it's like you're watching another person, because
Yeah.
you don't think of it's like imposter syndrome. You're like, "That can't be that's not for me, is it?" It's like, "That's not something I've done." Maybe it's just because it was like, whatever, but then you start to go with it and maybe not believe it so much, but you just work. You put in the
Uh,
work, and whatever's whatever, because there are things that you put in so much work and it flops. So you realize it's not just about the content, it's just about the algorithm. So it's not
yeah.
your control sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if it's not in your control, then you can treat either as what do they say about the success and defeat, and treat the each as imposters, shall we say? There's some sort of fancy quote about that. Um, no, I just wondered because I don't know. Does there come a point where you feel like a bigger responsibility because you've got such a big audience, and like you've kind of like you say you work a little bit harder because you're suddenly aware that there's quite a lot of people paying attention.
Yeah. I do watch my mouth more now. Um, because at first, when I first started, I tried to be shocking.
Hmm.
There was a few people that were, they pushed the envelope.
Right.
And so I thought, right, that's a good way to get attention. And I quickly realized that's not me.
Yeah, and it's not
That is not
sustainable
who,
then, is it?
yeah, it's not sustainable,
Yeah.
and things don't age well.
Yeah.
And so I veer away from, I stay neutral. Sometimes if I believe in it fully, I'm not backing down,
Hmm.
which is very rare. Uh, but I do feel now more people are watching. I don't want to upset anybody.
Yeah.
That's the, and I don't want to be apologizing all the time either.
Yeah.
So I want to be in with the right thing. Sometimes you don't get it right. You do end up thinking, oh, maybe I should have watched my mouth, worded it a little bit better.
Yeah.
You will get this, being people like your channel now,
Yeah.
more people are watching, and you realize the more people are watching, the more different opinions, and you're not everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah.
That was something I was afraid of,
Well, I was
because
just
I had a
coming
bit
back
of
to your point about being sensitive, you see. So I was just thinking,
are you
you know,
sensitive?
no, you said you were sensitive, and I was just thinking,
Yes.
and I am, whole
Yeah.
100%, definitely. And I think I'm hardwired to um, try my very best not to upset anyone. But
Mm,
equally, I'm also hardwired to be fully authentic.
yeah.
And and I do worry sometimes. I think, oh, Julia, you could have. Did you have to say that? And I look back and I go, well, in the moment, yes, because it was the right
Yeah.
thing to say. And I
Mm,
think you have to just back yourself and just
yeah.
say, you know, yeah, I do mean those things because that is my lived experience, and these are my views. And as long as you're not wantonly hurting somebody, um, I know I share a lot on this podcast, and I've
That's why it's
decided
doing
to.
so well.
Pardon?
That's why it's doing so well.
Yeah, I think it might be. It seems to be. That's the feedback I get was like it's almost giving permission to other people to be more open and honest about how they really feel about things. And I just made a conscious choice at the beginning of this to say, if I have to second guess, if I have to double check myself before I speak to anybody, I'm just not going to do it. And then everyone, I miss out, you miss out. People have given me incredible feedback, and it humbles you. You just go, oh, and they're strangers, and they go, oh, that thing you said really changed. I mean, I had one lady write on a post saying that there's a quote I repeated. She said, you have no idea how much I needed to hear that today. And I was a bit overwhelmed by that. I was like, oh my gosh, the impact of words, So, I think we're in the same place, and that's, but I also like sleeping at night. So I try not to say, I keep away from controversy. I don't want to be a controversial person.
Yeah.
That's not who I am.
No, you either are or you're not.
Yeah.
And I don't think I could handle the backlash,
No.
if I'm quite honest.
Yeah.
I've seen people go there and I'm thinking,
Well, that gets you the views. It gets you the algorithm. But I don't want to be that person either.
Yeah, but how long for?
Yeah.
Like, how long for? And what sacrifice?
At what cost exactly?
Yeah,
Masses.
at what cost? It's not
Yeah.
worth it. And I've worked too hard to come this far to get cancelled
Yeah.
from trying to be shocking. No.
Yeah. No, let's stay on the right side of everything. That's what I say. Good. All right. So Caroline Aherne, love her. Number 4 then.
Okay, number 4 would be the gayest thing I'm going to say today is Madonna.
Oh. Everybody's favorite gay icon.
Everybody's favorite. Talking about shocking. No. Again, when I was a teenager, I was really lost. Didn't know. It was a bit of a weird one because I was gay. I was very feminine. I'm very feminine now, but I've probably toned it down a little bit with time and be more comfortable. I don't need to be overtly feminine anymore. When I was a kid, I loved dressing up in women's clothes and wearing my mum's high heels, where I used to get a net curtain and dance around in it, and everyone was just like, oh, my nana was like, oh, Linda.
I can see it all.
Yeah, and it was very confusing because I thought, I must have, but why are you acting like a girl? But I used to get that quite a lot. So I used to think, oh my God, am I supposed to be a girl? Didn't know what gay was.
Yeah.
At that age. And then I was a fan of Madonna. And then it was the first that we watched. I begged my mum to watch In Bed with Madonna. Begged. And I was allowed. And there was a lot in that. I shouldn't really, see. I saw 2 men kissing for the first time.
Yeah.
There you
Like,
go.
oh, that's the thing.
That's the thing.
Mm.
The week after, Rocky Horror Picture Show was on TV, and my mum taped it for me. And I saw a load of men dressed in suspenders, and it was just like, you can just be a boy. And you can be these things. And so with Madonna, very bolshy, very, strong-minded, everything that I wasn't, everything I wanted to be. I wanted to be more confident. You have a lot of adults telling you what to do when you're a kid, and I hated it. And I just wanted to say no. But there's, you have to obey, you have to be obedient. And I just love watching someone being mouthy, and I was such an afraid kid, and it was the only time that I really felt like this. I could be that if I wanted to be. I'll wait though.
Again, it's permission giving, isn't it? She gave you permission. She said, "Look at me. I'm going all out there."
Yeah.
And it kind of, that people who do that, people who go out on such a massive limb.
Yeah.
It just is permission giving to everybody else just to try it on for a day or two, or just try it for size, or just feel braver because someone like Madonna is in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's such a lack of when you are a gay child. There's such a lack of there was at that time I didn't know where to look. I didn't know what this. I knew that I was more feminine than my friends. and I didn't fit. I knew I was different, and I was trying to put it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like when you're trying to put it into a name or a
Yeah,
category
yeah.
that
You're trying to
everyone
understand
needs.
yourself. Where do I fit in context to the
Yeah,
rest of the world? Yeah, yeah.
yeah. It wasn't sexual.
No, it's a
It was
belonging thing. Where do
just.
I belong?
That's it.
Yeah,
That was the one I'm looking for. Who are my people?
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, and I knew that seeing the two boys kissing, and I was like, I think that's gonna be me when I'm older.
yeah,
It took me ages to come out. It took me till 18 though, but I need to be sure. I needed to
yeah,
be safe, I needed somewhere to run if it went wrong, you know, even though, it was never gonna go wrong. I was very lucky in that sense. I told everyone and everyone knew anyway, but it was more to do with, um, making just double checking I'm out of there if it all goes tits up.
yeah,
And so, yeah, I came out when I was 18 and I was gone, about 2 months later anyway, because I moved out. Um, but like you say, when someone's out there taking the punches for you,
yeah,
knowing it's makes it a lot easier to
yeah.
know who you are.
Draws you out. I
Who
mean,
was yours, by the way? Who was your
well, I'm
inspiration
just going
for
to say, I mean, you say you took too long. I waited till I was
Yeah.
50, Mark. So I think I
Are you
win.
50?
I'm 55
Oh,
next month.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're looking alright.
Thank you, thank you. But it's like, yeah, I was, you know, I mean, I've written about this, I've talked about it, so it's, um, it's out there. But it's like, I think I always knew at some very deep level, but
Yeah.
I was so my priority was to belong to Neil. He and I were so kind of bonded in our own with our own needs to be loved and cared for by each other. It's
Mm,
almost like everything else was secondary. And it's like
mm,
I'm going to bury that side of me as deep as I can because I don't want to lose this person. And then, in the end, I suppose I could have risked losing him forever if I'd not been brave enough to sit him down one day. And actually, we didn't separate through my um, realization, let's call it that. So it wasn't really a coming out as such. It was more like a slow realization. And I sat him down way before that and just said, I just don't want to hurt you. And I think I might if I don't have this honest conversation with you. And Neil is like family to me. I'd never want to hurt him. I'd
yeah.
never want to do that. So, so 33 years I led, and we had a wonderful home life. We raised two beautiful children. It was all good, but at some fundamental level. And if you go back to those early days of you watching two men kissing, I mean, there
Mm,
wasn't a girl equivalent of that back then. I think two females kissing didn't come into sort of mainstream anything for a long time. But I know that when I was
Brookside?
watching screen kisses, I was always watching the girl.
Yeah.
I was never watching the guy.
Yeah.
So there was definitely inklings. And if you saw me back then, I would probably be the girl version of you. I was very tomboyish.
Mm,
I was very obvious when you look back.
yeah.
But no, if you'd said to me, "Are you gay, Julie?" I'd go, What is it? Gay, sir? Me, sir? No, sir. Gay, sir." Little Britain thing. I would have done that.
Was everyone shocked when you, married Neil? When you met Neil?
Some
Sorry.
people in my life, no one ever said anything to me, not once in 33
Mm,
years. And I never said anything to anyone really. I
yeah.
might have tested waters with some strangers,
Yeah.
just seeing if how it went down as a concept.
Yeah.
Testing the idea of it. But
Yeah.
no, my closest friends, when I finally told them, they were like, "What?" Like it was a big moment, but they were immediately were like, "Oh gosh, amazing. Let's see." Just completely embraced it. And Neil actually was completely embracing. He was like, my partner now. He met Catherine when we were just dog walking and getting to know each other, and nothing had happened. We weren't together. We were just dog walking.
Yeah.
And Neil's out of the blue just said, "Oh, that lady you go dog walking with." I said, "Yes." He said, "I could see you with her." And like we hadn't even had the proper conversation yet. We'd had the separation conversation, but not that conversation. And he
Okay.
kind of called it. And he said, I'd be happy for you, which is one of the most generous things an ex can
Yeah.
say, particularly a male ex. They can, he could have gone
Yeah.
in a very different direction,
Do you
but he
think
was
he
so
was like because you've
dignified.
been together for so
Sorry?
long that do you think it's because you've been together for so long that he knew you like that, or he had intuition about that,
Yeah,
or
I think he knew that I struggled. And it was very confusing. I didn't know my mum at all. I wasn't raised by her, and I wasn't really raised by my dad either, to be honest. That's all
right?
in the book. So it's like he knew I had an attraction to be around women because I didn't have
Mm,
any. And
yeah,
but I also was very uncomfortable around them because of, obviously deeper feelings. So I think he knew I was struggling with the whole, um, what is this then?
yeah.
Is it a sexual thing? Is it a chemical thing? Is it a maternal thing? It was all that kind of stuff. And I think he knew the complexity in me. But he has so much, we had a lot of respect for each other. He had a lot of respect for me and listened and talked and just kind of accepted that you have one precious life. You have to be brave and say, I love you, but I need to be my full self. I need to live my life authentically. And my dad was gay and he never came out. And I think he just died, and I just remember looking at him and going, you were alive, you were so vital only that short time ago in my memory, and you never ever found love. You never had a partner. You never had it. So therefore, you were never home. And I don't want to get totally into it, but that was another reason why I rejected um, my sexuality, because my sexuality or his sexuality took him away from us. So I didn't have a positive um, experience of it. So it's very
Right.
complicated, Mark. But I wish I was as brave as you at 18 and just said that's me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, do you know, I think for me, it was one of them. I couldn't contain it.
yeah.
It was so strong burning. And I do have a lot of friends who came out a bit later in life. I met them as an older person, and I completely get it. I completely get it. My desire was stronger,
Yeah.
and it was I was creative. I was very lucky. I had gay friends
Well, that
at
that
that
probably helped.
age.
Yeah.
Yeah, it helped a lot, and so I was very. I want to say privileged, but I was lucky.
Yeah.
It was one of those things where I had a lot more. I knew that it could have gone bad, but I knew that it wouldn't go bad if I'd have come out.
Yeah.
I have no desire to be with anyone but a man,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
people are gonna find out eventually. But when it comes to people, back to Madonna, it was more to do with like, well, this is a woman who's
Yeah.
saying it's okay to be that way. Do it in front of me, you
Yeah.
know.
Oh, amazing. And just I'm curious about yours now. Then, was it kind of how was your nearest and dearest about all of this? Were they very supportive, accepting? Did it?
They were. I think it was a little bit awkward for my real mum
Hmm.
because she was such a lioness when it came to us. Um, she when I came out, she was like, "Okay," you know, and I could see her taking it in,
Well, worrying
and it
about you
was
probably. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and she was like, "Okay, so," and I think she got overwhelmed at that point, and I thought, "Oh God, here we go." Like, it was. I wasn't expecting fireworks. I wasn't expecting her to hold me and cry either, but it was just, I was looking at her face and I couldn't make her out. But I know now it was like, how am I going to keep you safe? I was
Yeah.
already, planning to move out.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that she had everything. You're a kid, I can keep you safe or
Mm.
whatever. I can shout anyone down, but I was leaving home.
Yeah. And
How
and
am I
the
going to
world can be a cruel place
Yeah,
for
so I felt
yeah.
like, that was it. Once my mum knew, I could not give a hoot about whoever knew
Yeah.
because it was her approval that I needed,
Yeah.
because that was the strongest person I knew, and I knew that if she could fight my battles, I could fight my battles. I was like I say, when you say you didn't really know your mum, um, that's when I know that I was one of the lucky ones
Yeah.
in that sense.
Yeah.
So I don't take that for granted either. So I was when you hear about these horrific stories, I'm thinking, yeah, no, I had none of that. I had none of that.
Oh,
And
lovely.
yeah,
Oh, that's good to
very.
hear. I'm glad. I'm very glad. And
Yeah.
we all need a lioness in our corner.
Yeah,
So
it doesn't have to be your mom. I had a few
no,
lionesses, I think that's probably why I look to women more for strength than men. Like you're talking about, the men that I grew up with. Mm-mm.
mm,
They were the women were the fiercest one. The women were the leaders, the silent leaders, I guess, because they, let the men believe that but it wasn't the case at all. I always go to women, apart from my partner, for advice
mm,
and see what's because I probably respect. I've been brought up on that.
yeah, it's familiar
Um,
to you.
very, very,
And back to
very.
that safety thing again.
It's a very big word for me.
Yeah,
I use that in quite when people say like, "What's your home safe?"
yeah, yeah,
I need to feel secure. If I don't
yeah,
feel safe, if I didn't feel like I was safe in this, I wouldn't do it. If I felt like you were argumentative kind of interviewer, but I'm not doing
yeah. No, I don't blame you.
that.
Shut it down, Mark.
Yeah.
But I think, do you know what it is? I'm going to take a reach on this. When you put yourself out there like you do, and I do
Mhm.
too, when you do
Mhm.
anything creative that you put out into the world and you just kind of hope that people are going to like it, um, that need for safety, particularly the people closest to you, is huge because
Mm.
it takes a lot to put yourself out in the world. You have to
Mhm.
feel pretty secure in yourself and in your relationships and in your nearest and dearest. And
Mhm.
I don't think you can do it otherwise, or you could do it, but it's dangerous. I think it could
Very
lead to all
dangerous.
kinds of um, you know difficulties, shall we say?
Yeah. Dangerous. I'm not very good at being vulnerable,
Mm,
um, because of past stuff, and I always think to myself like, when I met my partner now, um, we've been together for 2.5 years, and I think that it took me so long
mm,
'cause, I've been in relationships before, but never with someone who's been completely vulnerable and open.
yeah,
And I was like, okay, so you go maternal.
yeah,
You go, okay, no one's gonna do anything to while I'm here.
yeah,
And then you're thinking, well, this your turn now.
yeah, yeah,
You've got to open up. I'm like, oh, uh, what's that?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Cup of
look
tea.
over there. But and then you start to be vulnerable, and then you realize there's a lot that's not in you that's not perfect.
Yeah,
I don't try to
absolutely.
be perfect, but you try to hold on to security.
Yeah,
It's not safe to be vulnerable sometimes.
yeah.
And so when I felt completely at that, which is very rare, I've opened up, so
Oh gosh, honestly, Mark, we could pause there, do a whole new podcast called
I know.
"What
I
is it
was just
like to being in a relationship?" I've only had you know, there's Neil for 33 years and Catherine and I've been
Mm,
together 5 years, and I hope
mhm,
forevermore. So if I'm lucky, I'll get to the end of my days only ever being truly vulnerable with two people. And actually, I'm going to say, extremely um, vulnerable with Catherine much more than Neil, because Neil and
mm.
I grew up together. When you come
Right.
into when you come into a new relationship in later life and you bring all that history and baggage and complexity, and I've got two grown-up children now, and she's got an ex-partner, and there's adult stuff going on. Um, it challenges you, but in such a good way. I can't tell you. I am so I think when you're assessing your relationship or if other people are, I think the word I always look at come to is are you flourishing? Are you flourishing as
Mm,
a person, even if it's hard? Are you flourishing? Are you becoming more of who you are, what you're meant to be? Are you doing more, experiencing more? Then I think that's a good litmus test. So I can definitely say that Catherine brings out the very best in me, but some of it's quite hard because you're bringing adult things to a brand new relationship, which is very different to
yeah.
writing love notes in pencil cases at 16, isn't it?
well, you've lived as well,
Yeah,
and you've put up a lot of boundaries, a lot of walls, a lot of boundaries,
yeah,
and you protect yourself quite a lot, and you are bringing a new version of yourself to a new person after
yeah,
being with someone for so long.
yeah, yeah.
That's a lot.
It's a lot, Mark. Are we going to get through this list? I don't suppose we are. Is there if there's anyone still listening, we're going to do number 5 now. But there we are. Well done, Madonna. Number
Okay,
5. Here we
last
go.
but by no means least is Paul O'Grady.
Oh my
Uh,
goodness. Oh, what a
Paul
legend.
O'Grady, Lily Savage.
Yeah.
I I used to get Lily Savage on TV all the time, and he was just a master at what he did,
Completely.
and got the northwestern humor, but so crass sometimes that it made me nervous. And I would laugh out because we watch it as a family, and I'd be like, and you'd hear some of the things you're like,
And look around
and then
going,
you see, yeah, exactly. But then you see
yeah,
my parents, my mum laughing,
yeah,
right, and I was like, "This is okay,"
yeah,
to laugh. First person I'd ever seen dressed as, in drag.
yeah.
Um, I think it was yeah, it was 1990 or some I can't remember actually, 'cause no, Rocky Horror wasn't really drag, was it? But Lily Savage was the first drag queen I'd ever laid eyes on. Just hilarious.
Yeah.
Hit the nail on the head. Great comebacks. I can't repeat some of the things that made me laugh the most, I will say,
Well, it's the whole
but
package, isn't it? It's the whole
yeah.
package. Yeah,
Yeah, and it was for me, drag queen was like watching a clown, and not in a derogatory kind of way. They were dressed up, they
yeah.
had makeup on, but they were just an adult version of
It's an art
clown.
form. It's
Oh
an
my god,
absolute art
yeah.
form.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
And I
listen,
think
I'm glad he's on the list. I mean, God, what can you say about him? What a wit. I mean, he was so quick. Like you see him in interviews where he's being interviewed. Obviously, he's very quick when he was doing his own show.
Mm.
But and but then you saw the softer side of him with the Battersea Dogs stuff he did,
Yeah.
and For the Love of Dogs, I think it was called, and I
Yeah.
loved that show. I still watch reruns and you see it on the telly. If I see it listed when I'm doom scrolling on the telly, and I see
Mm.
For the Love of Dogs, I just always play. I always watch it.
Yeah.
Such a deep humanity in him and great legs. I mean,
Amazing legs.
all the ladies were going, "I wish I had legs like that." Didn't he though?
No, when you talk about the humanity, this is my core,
Hmm.
is when you talk about someone could be so sharp and they could cut you with a knife with just their words, but that's because you made them. Like
Yeah.
their core is good, their heart is good. You see how I always say, if you want to know how someone is, look at them with animals. They melt. They're not
Yeah.
just good. They protect them. They nurture them, and it's that and children. Watch how they are with children, and you see a good, authentic person when they are the protector, and
Yeah.
that is a very big thing for me.
I'm glad you mentioned that because the thing about Lily Savage was even though, Paul O'Grady was, like you say, cutting people's legs off,
Mm,
the person that was having their legs cut off took it as it took it as the joke, took it as the
yeah,
compliment that it was,
yeah, yeah.
and it's like there was no malice in it. There was no meanness. It was
No.
just funny. And I
Mm,
think we all know the difference when someone's teasing with love and someone's teasing with hate in their hearts,
yeah.
or want to actually hurt you. And I think that's the people who stay on the right side of that, who use humor. And
Mm,
and and he was very self-deprecating too, and I think when you're self-deprecating, it's almost like open season, that you can say anything because 'cause you've had a go at yourself first. So, I think all of that and the warmth in him, if you were the subject of one of his jokes, I'd think that was a huge compliment. I go,
I agree.
you know?
It's true.
Oh,
People sat there waiting to
to
be
be cut.
roasted.
Yeah,
Yeah, they were like,
yeah,
"It's like, me, please, me." And
yeah,
then you think like that's how good he was. When you have a group of people laughing at themselves.
Yeah.
It's such a you're taking their vision of themselves and putting it into a parody. And this,
Yeah.
look at your own behavior. Is that right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
think, yeah, I do that
Yeah.
actually. I try my best to do that. I don't think I'm on that level, but I definitely do want to take people for take their ego and put it there. And so it's like you.
Yeah. Yeah. But you know what? To laugh is, well, probably the most human. It's the thing that distinguishes us. You know, okay, hyenas laugh. Not really. Um, but animals don't laugh, do they? And
No.
it's an inherently human thing to do. And I think there's such sophistication in it.
Mm,
If you think about the very top stand-up comics that want to land a really difficult subject or complex idea, that's genius.
yeah.
Comedy, to use comedy to deal with something very difficult, or anything with the human condition. You do that with you can do that with humor.
Yeah.
And it is a fabulous art form. I always fancied being a stand-up. I've done a bit of comparing in my life,
Okay.
and every now and then I think, could I? But then I think, oh, come on, no. But I like to be humorous. I think
Yeah.
and I actually think it's a real flex. Particularly if you're in the corporate world. I'm in the corporate world, and I'll always look for the fun. I'll always look for
Yeah.
the quip, the bit that just makes it a little bit more human, a little bit more
You
warm,
know.
a little bit more
Yeah.
bonding. It's to me, it's like a powerful stance to take
It's a
in a
gift.
corporate environment.
Yeah. If you can, in your environment, if you can insert a little bit of humor and just make someone just ease up,
Yeah,
it's a gift.
yeah,
A lot of people have that.
yeah.
And people think, oh, I can make people laugh. And you think,
Mm.
you're not funny.
Yeah. No, I've said this before. I use it as a sort of example of when people say, people tell you all the time, "I'm really good at this."
Yeah.
And then I always say that. I'll say, "Don't tell me how funny you are. Make me laugh."
Yeah.
You can't just tell someone you're funny. You have to have the outcome. People have to
Yeah. Just
find you
do it.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Actions speak louder than words, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well,
Um,
and I found, Paul O'Grady very funny. So well done. He's a great sort of punchline of his own, isn't he, for
yeah,
this exercise? And I could totally
absolutely.
see how he's influenced your comedic style. 100%.
Yeah.
So listen, that's the five, and actually that segues nicely into my next question, which is, you know, uh, it's very clear. You've talked about the influences of these people. You've talked about how they've impacted you, from childhood onwards. Really, this is
Mhm.
quite a punchy list of big characters that
Yeah.
have really shaped you. It's very obvious. It leaps off the page, but it's like, given the person you are now, and then now we've talked through these five, and you've gone through this process, can you think of anything that perhaps we haven't already spoken about that you recognize directly in you from these five people and their influence on you?
Yeah, I use a lot of humor to probably take away from myself.
Hmm.
If I don't
Deflection.
really,
Yeah.
deflect. Um, and it's a good and a bad thing because you're making someone laugh. Um, but there is something sometimes you don't want to be the center of attention for the wrong reasons.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's nice to be a version of yourself that people can't really judge.
Yeah. Something of the
Yeah,
clown in that, then, isn't there?
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a
Putting
mask
on the
that I
makeup.
that I that in being a comedy. I
Mm.
think comedians are quite insecure,
Mm.
and have developed this skill where you can't. You can't see behind the surface
Yeah.
because you're too busy laughing at what's coming out of the front, and so I think that's quite true to what I do. But I'm learning to be vulnerable.
Only
I
just.
am. Only just. I enjoy talking like this
Yeah.
more. I talk like this quite a lot when the conversation is right.
Yeah.
I open up when it's safe. We use that
Yeah.
word quite a lot.
Yeah.
I feel there is something to be said about someone that can do that, not just to me, just in general.
Hmm.
And I think it's but right now, obviously, I've just opened up. I didn't
Yeah.
expect to talk so much, to be fair. But yeah, this is when I feel safe. I don't care who hears it. It's authentic,
Yeah. Yeah.
But if I feel like it's not a good environment, or the person I'm talking to isn't in it,
Yeah.
then you'll get surface level and a
Oh,
few
yeah, 100%.
jokes.
But
Yeah.
there's nothing more distance making than a quick mind. If
Yeah.
you've got a quick mind and a quick wit, I can keep people as far away from me as I want. If
Mm.
and very few people know me properly, because I can hold court and I can dictate, um, the conversation quite easily. But
Mm.
I agree. I think when you feel sort of relaxed and comfortable, and the person's kind of sees you, gets you, and is there for you, I think that's actually what I seek out. And I don't think it's any coincidence why I'm doing this, actually, because I think, and I've mentioned this before on previous podcasts, long form conversation, when you really have an uninterrupted chat about important things, is so rare in this modern world. We don't make time for it. I mean, there's no place for it. You can't. And I was saying to someone the other day, I was saying you can't even reliably go to a pub or a bar or a coffee shop because it's so loud.
Yeah.
Like, you can't have an intimate conversation with anyone,
Mm.
because you're just shouting.
Yeah.
And so this to me is a real privilege to be able to sit and actually talk to you and find out how you think
Yeah.
and who has influenced you.
It's
It's important.
it's in a controlled environment, and
Yeah,
that's one word I didn't use, is like control.
yeah,
Is I'm not a control freak, but I do like order.
yeah, yeah,
I l- this when I do my own stuff, I'm in control.
yeah,
I
yeah.
can decide what goes out. I'll decide if that's too much and if the people won't appreciate it.
Hmm.
I get to say that. And so anything good is great. Anything bad is still on me because I have the control.
Yeah, yeah,
So I can take ownership of that. So when we're doing stuff like this and I'm on your podcast, um, it's just me and you.
yeah,
And it feels nice,
yeah,
so it's I try to do that with as many videos as I do. So when Brenda's talking into the camera, I want to act as though it's just me
yeah.
and
It's an
that one
intimacy with the
person.
audience, isn't it? I
Yeah,
definitely get that. Well,
yeah,
yeah, and also how you set up the shot. It's very, very full on. It's like
yeah,
she's right up in the camera, isn't she? So
yeah.
I think that creates a very sort of, yeah, it's like an intimacy. She's talking to you, and I like that. I think that's a really good way of doing it.
Yeah, like you
Oh,
said, you don't get that anymore. So
yeah,
yeah, it's nice.
yeah, a little bit of real. We love real, Mark. Let's do
Love
more
it.
of it.
Yeah,
All right. So then the next question is always, I don't know. You've had some great inspirations. You've had some wonderful people. You've had, strong family. You know, warts and all. Let's put it that way. A real
yeah,
family,
real.
the real royal family. And there's a lot of good here. So from a point of view of sort of paying it forward, um, I don't know. Is there something in all of this that says I want to be this person? I want to be known as this person. I'm going to take myself forward in this way, and I'm going to live my life in this way. Do you ever feel? Do you ever think that? Do you ever think I'm going to honor these people by being something?
Um, I think so more with my mom.
Hmm.
And I think it's not that I want to honor her, but I definitely want people to know who she was,
Hmm.
and that you can be a good person even if it's not obvious, if you're not working for a charity, or you're
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
doing good things that everyone can see. You can go under the radar and be a good person.
Yeah.
No one needs to see it, but
Yeah.
just as the person that you're being good to. With the Madonna, definitely. It's not that I want to honor her or be like her, but I definitely want to take what she put out and say that was because I
Yeah.
saw what you did.
Yeah. Amazing. I mean, they say, you know, to be spoken well of is the
Mm.
ultimate anyway, I think. I think that that's certainly a goal of mine is, to be spoken well of today and always, not just after I'm, not here. But it's like it's sort of like a guiding principle for me. It doesn't mean I'm a walkover. It doesn't mean I'm, if you cut me up on the road, you're going to know about it. You know what I mean? It's like I'm quite a lioness of my own and quite strong like that. But
Mm,
it's not really about that. It's about doing just living a life with integrity, and integrity doesn't mean just always getting it right either. It's just if you get it wrong, own it and just go, oh, oof," because we are going to make mistakes. I'm going to make loads. I might have made one just now. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I
yeah,
did it with integrity.
yeah, exactly. I think that if you overthink your every step,
Yeah,
you're gonna lose. It's a big old world out there,
yeah,
and so you're gonna think about every detail. It's not gonna come out as authentic.
yeah,
And people are gonna see right through it
yeah,
because you're too contrived. You're
yeah.
too. When me and my partner watch something and there's someone on a reality show, because I do watch a lot
Oh,
of
I do
reality
too.
shows.
Guilty pleasure. Guilty pleasure.
Yeah, and I'm like, they just want to be famous.
Yeah, they're not here for the right
They're
reasons.
not authentic, and
Yeah.
they're talking in character mode.
Mm.
There's a lot of up talk when people talk like go up at the end
Yeah.
of the, and
Yeah.
that's fine. Don't get me wrong, but they've heard that.
It's
They've
an affectation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they've learned that. They've
Yeah.
seen someone who is an influencer or reality show star and think that's how I want to be. That's not who you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's definitely something to be said about um not overthinking and boundary setting and
Mm.
all that,
Oh,
all that
that's a
good stuff.
subject.
Yeah, I know. Do you know what? I could talk to you all day
Yeah,
about
yeah.
that.
Yeah. Let's do a separate podcast called Boundary Setting. And
Yeah,
we've got two spin-offs now, and we boundary setting and new relationships.
I
So
know.
we've got this will run and run this. All right. Well, listen, we are going to have to come to an end in a moment. But the other thing I like to ask my guests, because I do want to meet people way outside of my normal day to day, and that's one of the reasons I asked this next question is, who should I meet next and why? Who should I talk to?
I have a friend called Harry.
Mm-hmm.
He is an artist. He comes from an artistic family. Uh, he's a client of mine. I'm a barber,
I did
and I
know
cut
that.
his. Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I did
Uh,
know that.
so yeah, I cut his hair, and when we talk, we talk for ages. Sometimes I have to like hurry it up, like because I'm cutting hair and there's people waiting. I'm like, all right, Harry, I've got to hurry up. But he goes everywhere with his conversation,
Mm,
and yeah, I think he'd be a really good. He's very interesting as a
brilliant.
person, very different from me. Um, but that's what you want, right?
Yeah, I do. Absolutely. Well, look, hook me up with Harry.
I haven't actually spoke to him
That's right.
about
You haven't said his
this.
surname. He's not on the hook yet.
Oh,
So you'll
good,
be all
good,
right.
good. Yeah,
Yeah, but
but I'll have a word with him if that's
yeah, definitely. Oh gosh,
yeah,
listen, someone said to me the other day, "What's your ambition with this?" I said, "Meet loads of really interesting people. That's it. I just want to, and spread a little bit of love in the world. I think talking and honouring people that have invested in you is a positive thing. It's a good thing to do.
yeah,
So, and I really enjoy this. I do
yeah,
it because I love it. You know, it's
yeah,
it's it's something I'll always prioritize.
yeah.
Um, so listen, last bit then. Is there anything you want to say about, this is your turn to promo something. What are you
My
doing?
time to
Your time
shine.
to shine, Mark. Tell us stuff. All
I actually don't have anything to promote right now, I have
right.
to say. But watch my channel. I'm a content creator on all social media platforms: TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. My name is Mark Massett. I do like comedy, character work, and stuff like that. And that's all really.
Well, we'll put all the links on when we do our little
Yeah.
blurbs and stuff, and I'll make sure we point people to go and enjoy you and Brenda, and
Yes.
everybody else that's made up Brenda by the sounds of things.
Yeah, definitely.
No, listen, Mark, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you, and
Likewise.
I'm glad you've enjoyed the experience too. And I wish you all the very best with it. It's great.
Yes.
We love what you're doing, and I will speak to Neil.
Yeah.
He's not that busy. Neil, you're not that busy.
Yeah.
Come on,
Neil.
help Mark out here. I'll do that for you. Listen, have a
Excellent.
great rest of evening.
You too.
Take
Thank
care.
you. Bye.
Bye. Well, that was Mark. And as I said, a perfect ending to season 2. I hope you enjoyed that. And if you did, please like, subscribe, comment, share, or get in touch. Maybe you could share your 5 with me. Well, thank you for listening to the whole of season 2. And I do look forward to seeing you again. I'm going to take a few weeks off for the summer and come back to you in a few weeks' time with season 3, which I'm very excited about. Until then, all the best. Take care. Bye-bye.